Charlotte or Greenville? Which Carolina city is best for you? Well, you're about to find out because I'm going to compare 19 different categories and see which one wins across cost of living, jobs, transportation, healthcare, schools, all the things that everybody cares about, but nobody actually talks about. And I know how they actually chalk up against each other because I've spent enough time in both cities to share the truth with you. So let's start with the first category that everybody wants to know about: cost of living. Living in Charlotte does cost more. Day to day, things aren't extremely different, but small differences can add up faster here. Now, Charlotte does offer higher salaries and a larger job market, which can help offset those costs. But in Greenville, it is cheaper. There's no question about it. When you look at home prices side by side, Greenville's considerably lower than Charlotte in many areas. And it's not just housing. Gas, groceries, going out to eat, all can be cheaper in Greenville. Greenville just stretches your dollar further, again, in most areas. And that means that you can live larger with the same paycheck. Now, Greenville's going to win on pure affordability just a little bit because you do spend less to live more. But Charlotte balances higher prices with bigger paychecks, so it's not a deal breaker for most people. But I am going to give this round to Greenville. Now, saving money is great, but what about making money? Let's look at the job market and income potential. In Charlotte, we've got the banking hub here, the #2 banking hub in the US actually. So there's a lot of finance, corporate headquarters, logistics, tech, you name it. There's a much larger job market here with a broader array of jobs. Now, if you're ambitious and you want to climb the corporate ladder, Charlotte is where those opportunities stack up, no doubt. You feel the corporate energy in this city. It's not sleepy, it's always moving with bigger companies, bigger salaries, and that's just how it shakes out. But Greenville's market is smaller, but not dead by any means. You've got manufacturing, automotive, healthcare. BMW's putting in a brand new plant there, just did. Michelin, Prisma Health anchoring it, which is also one of the best healthcare networks in the region. It's steady and people do well here, but it doesn't have the same volume of options that Charlotte does. You know what you're getting, it's dependable, but the selection is a little bit tighter. Now, Greenville balances this out with a lower cost of living, like I mentioned, so you don't need as much to live comfortably. And Charlotte shines for career growth and higher paychecks, but Greenville still offers a steady, albeit slimmer, selection of industries and a lifestyle that doesn't need bigger salaries. So overall, it's a tie this round because whether you're chasing ambition or balance, both cities hold up in their own ways. But how about when it comes to buying a home? Charlotte's real estate market is huge and diverse. You've got everything from uptown condos, suburban new builds, and historic neighborhoods. Prices are higher, but the options are endless if you've got the budget. Charlotte feels like a choose-your-own-adventure city when it comes to housing, but Greenville's market gives you something smaller. But right now it's on fire with all the growth, especially with that BMW plant bringing a lot of high-paying jobs into the area. People are moving in like crazy, and you feel that in the demand. It doesn't have the same variety as Charlotte, but what's here is growing fast. Greenville feels like a city that's still shaping itself, which makes it exciting. There's a lot of revitalization and growth pockets, including downtown Greenville, which has been completely redone over the past few years, and it is gorgeous. The Swamp Rabbit area has become a magnet for buyers, and on the west side, it's still catching up, but the momentum is real. It's like watching a city reinvent itself in real time. Now, Charlotte is the proven market with scale and variety, while Greenville brings fresh growth and a lower buy-in. Both stand strong in their own way. And this one's also a tie because it's not whether they both have good options, it's which has options that are better for you. And that's what can make this decision even harder, because if you do choose the wrong city, that can be a six-figure mistake and leave you stuck somewhere that you don't even want to live. And that's why I built the Southern City quiz. The link's below. Take it and see which Southern city actually fits you before you make the move, so you don't make a six-figure mistake. But what schools are at the top of your list? Charlotte's school system is much larger with more magnet programs, more private options, but also more inconsistency. If school quality is your top factor for you and your family, you'll find pockets here that shine. Now, overall, Charlotte just gives you more to pick from because of the size. Now, Greenville's got its own advantages too, with Furman University, gorgeous campus, strong reputation. It's where my girlfriend actually went to school. And on K through 12, you've got great schools in Greenville too. Many times, in my opinion, it's the parents more than the schools that can make the difference because, like, for instance, I was actually home educated all the way until I went to Purdue University for engineering school, and it was 100% the attitude around education at home that made all the difference. Obviously, you want to stay away from any sort of schools that are going to be an active detractor to your kids' lives. But the feedback that I've gotten from so many of the parents that moved their families to Charlotte and to North or South Carolina is as long as the schools aren't an active detractor, there's not a huge difference between an A or a B or a 7 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 ranked school. Just my unsolicited 2 cents. The community is smaller, it's more tight-knit, and it's easier to plug into. Now, depending on what you're looking for, education could feel equivalent between both cities, or one of them might stand out depending on what you're looking for. And sports lean to Charlotte with pro teams, but Greenville keeps it fun with that college town pride. So overall, I'll keep this one tied. If one edges out the other for you, write that down. But both cities educate well enough. But how do they treat you on the road? Let's check out traffic and commutes. Now, traffic in Charlotte has become a part of daily life. There's more people, more cars, bigger city, and you're gonna feel it. You'll hear some people really complain about the traffic, and you'll hear other people say it's no big deal. So which is it? Well, it depends on where you're coming from. If you're coming from the middle of nowhere in Kansas, it's going to feel like there's a lot of traffic here. If you're coming from Florida, you're coming from New York, or you're coming from the West Coast, or anywhere that has real traffic, Chicago even, then you're going to think the traffic here is no big deal because there's not a whole lot. Uptown and the main arteries can leave you sitting at certain times of the day for a few seconds or a couple minutes, and you learn the shortcuts, but you can't escape the volume because even though Charlotte usually has 2 or 3 different ways you can go between places just because the city wasn't laid out in rows and columns, it was laid out more like a spider web with roads curving and weaving. There's always 2 or 3 ways to get anywhere. When it's rush hour, everybody learns this over time, and so even though you might have a shortcut for a while, if there's traffic, enough traffic, eventually everybody's going to find those shortcuts and it just kind of evens out. But when you're looking at Greenville, downtown Greenville is so much easier to get in and out of for the most part. Parking, not a nightmare. You can park once and enjoy. And being a smaller city means that you don't hit the same wall of cars. Trouble spots do exist, like Pelham Road by I-85, but even rush hour there doesn't really compete with some of Charlotte's level traffic. And so overall, I got to give this one to Greenville because while there is some traffic, it's lighter, it's easier to handle, and Charlotte's congestion in some part is simply the cost of just being a bigger city. So Greenville wins this one, but getting around is one thing, while what about connecting further with public transit and bigger networks? In Charlotte, we have the light rail, which is a real plus if you're looking for getting around on public transit. You can hop on, get uptown, and avoid the parking mess altogether. It's not perfect, but it's something that Greenville doesn't have. Buses run too, though most people here still drive just because it's easier. Greenville's public transit is basically just buses, no light rail, no trains, nothing like Charlotte's setup. And if you don't have a car, you're gonna feel stuck. So Charlotte is clearly ahead. It's not a world-class system, but at least you have options beyond just driving. Greenville stays car first. So Charlotte wins this round because it connects better with transit, but which city actually feels safer day to day? Now, Charlotte's a big city, so you've got some areas that feel perfectly fine and are super safe, and there's others where you should look over your shoulder depending on what time of day you're walking around. It's not unsafe overall, but you've got to know the pockets that are good and the pockets that are not so good. Like any major metro, some neighborhoods are great and some you should avoid after dark. Now, In Greenville, most places feel pretty comfortable, and downtown especially, you can walk around, feel safe day or night. It's smaller, so it can feel easier to manage depending on what you're comfortable with, but there are really safe touristy areas and there are not so safe areas too. Both cities do have crime, but Greenville feels safer because of its size, while Charlotte carries the big city trade-off: more opportunities, more amenities, but also more variation. So overall, feeling safe matters. Both of these are going to tie. It really depends on what you're looking for. But let's talk about diversity and inclusiveness. Charlotte definitely has more diversity. With it being a bigger city, there's more people moving in here from all over. You see it in the neighborhoods, you see it in the workplaces, and you see it in the restaurants and coffee shops. It's a melting pot, which is awesome, but it also means that the city feels more spread out socially. You can find your group, but it takes longer because you're sorting through a bigger pool. And the one thing I cannot underemphasize is it's really important to find 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 activities and things that you can do on a regular basis to get exposure to the same groups of people where you can begin to build that community, whether that's rock climbing or run club or collecting art. It could be anything. Just find some place where you can get around the same people on a consistent basis and begin to build that tribe. And same thing for Greenville. Greenville is smaller, but the community is a little bit stronger. People are welcoming and you can get plugged in quickly. It feels like a place where it's easy to belong. You see familiar faces at events, the farmers market, downtown, and in Greenville, you don't have to try as hard. The city pulls you in quicker. And I'm going to give this section here to Greenville just slightly, because while it might not be as diverse and have as many little niche communities here as here in Charlotte, Greenville does have the tight-knit belonging and easy connections that just give it a little bit of an edge. Charlotte offers more variety, but it takes longer to plug in. So feeling included is one thing, but what about staying healthy? Let's talk healthcare access and quality. Charlotte's got Atrium and Novant, which are huge hospital systems here, and that means you've got choices and specialists. If something serious comes up, you don't feel limited here. Charlotte's depth is the difference. You can find whatever care you need without leaving town. Now, Greenville's system is Prisma Health. It's solid and day-to-day care is fine. You'll get seen quickly, but it's one main option, not the same menu of choices that Charlotte has. And for specialty care, sometimes you are probably still going to end up driving to Charlotte. So Charlotte's going to win here, but both cities cover your basics. It's just that Charlotte has a wider hospital network and the depth of specialists makes the difference. While healthcare is key, what about weather that you'll be living in every day here? Charlotte has hot summers, mild winters, and you get to see all 4 seasons. Summer heat, fall colors, just a touch of winter, and spring that shows up early. It gives you variety without going to extremes. Now, the weather in Greenville here matches Charlotte almost step for step with hot summers, mild winters, and the same 4-season mix. Greenville carries that balance where you get change, but nothing too harsh. And the only real difference is the mountains are slightly closer in Greenville. So if you want to go enjoy the fall colors, it's an hour instead of 2 hours. Not a huge difference. So overall, this one's a wash. Both cities bring that same tempered climate feel. And you probably won't pick Charlotte or Greenville based on weather alone. Now, weather may not tip the scales, but how a city feels day to day just might. So let's talk vibe and pace of life. Uptown Charlotte is busy, high-rises, corporate energy, stadiums, glass towers. It gives you the full big city feel, but it comes with a little bit more hassle. Parking, one-way streets, traffic, stress. Charlotte makes you plan your moves when you're going to Uptown, but in Greenville, downtown Greenville is charming and easy. Main Street is walkable, lined with shops, restaurants, and trees. You park once and just enjoy it. Falls Park is the star, right in the middle of downtown with the river and the bridge. It's the kind of place where you stroll, you don't stress. Now, Charlotte delivers the scale and energy of a true city, while Greenville brings walkability and charm, and each offers a vibe that fits a different lifestyle. So depending on what you're looking for, this one has to tie. Now, the vibe is one thing, but what's happening downtown when it comes to entertainment and local life? Let's check it out. Charlotte's got way more variety in everything, but particularly in restaurants and things to do. You got places like Bird Pizzeria, good food on Montfort, Amelie's French Bakery and Cafe, Haberdish, and many others. Every cuisine, every price point, with new spots opening all the time. It's big city dining, and you could eat something completely different every night of the week or every night of the month. Now, Greenville's food scene is definitely smaller, but it still does pretty good. You've got Sobeys, The Lazy Goat, Fork and Plow, Scoundrel, all solid local flavors, and it's quality over quantity, not overwhelming, but the character is strong. The vibe feels more intentional and less chain driven. Now, Charlotte wins here with sheer variety, more options, and more buzz, but Greenville still holds its own with quality and character, but Charlotte's dining scene just runs bigger, so I'm giving this one to Charlotte. Now, while the food is great, let's step outside the restaurants and see what about outdoor access and nature. Charlotte has the U.S. National Whitewater Center, a huge outdoor draw. It's one of the things I most love about the city, and I go there almost every day with my puppy Penny. Lake Norman is also here if you're into boating and lake life, as well as Lake Wylie is also equally just like 15-20 minutes outside the city. We have trails, greenways, and parks everywhere. They're easy to find, but depending on where you are, they might be a little bit spread out. Most of them are kind of concentrated north of the city or south of the city or the south side of the city. Now, while Charlotte's outdoor scene feels big and there's tons of options, unless you live really close to something like I do, you will usually have to drive for your day-to-day things. Now, Greenville's gem is Falls Park, right in the middle of downtown. It's iconic. And the Swamp Rabbit Trail connects neighborhoods for biking and walking, and is also a real magnet for outdoor enthusiasts. Unity Park is new and impressive with space for kids, festivals, and community gathering, and nature feels more woven into Greenville's daily city vibe. The one downside I have to call attention to, there aren't many great lakes, especially big lakes, unless you're getting an hour west of Greenville. And so especially if you like to splash in the water during the summer, get into the lake life, the lake scene, Charlotte's going to win for sure. And Charlotte just brings scale. Giant lakes, giant whitewater center. Greenville gives you some of the everyday ease if that's what you're looking for, but it's not the most important thing with the nature that's kind of blended into the city. But Charlotte has to win this round for sure. Now, outdoor life matters, but so does home life, and which city feels more family-friendly, more wholesome? Charlotte has family-friendly spots, but they're more spread out. You often drive to reach different parks or museums or festivals, and it works, but takes a little bit more planning than Greenville might. Greenville's downtown feels safe and comfortable for families, and you can bring the kids, walk around, and hit the parks with ease. Festivals are set up for families with strollers everywhere, kids running around, and it's also very pet friendly. Dogs are part of the scene. Greenville feels easier and more convenient, while Charlotte still offers a ton. You just got to be up for a little bit of a drive. Now, this round is a tie because families are covered, but what if you're single, ready to mingle, chasing the social life? Charlotte's a bigger city, so if you're on the apps, you've got way more people to swipe through. There's plenty of volume, but it can feel a little bit more anonymous. It's easy to meet people, but harder to build something organic, the old-fashioned way, meeting people through friends. Now, Greenville's smaller, but you meet people through activities, events, and community stuff. It feels more natural. You bump into the same faces at the farmer's market or on the Swamp Rabbit Trail, and the community's tight enough that connections happen without trying so hard. Now, while Charlotte brings the quantity, Greenville gives you the quality of connection, and so Greenville's tighter scene makes it easier to build something real and organic, and so I'll give this one to Greenville. Now, dating is one thing, but what about the bigger arts, culture, and events scene? When it comes to events, Charlotte's got all the pro teams, the Panthers, Hornets, Charlotte FC, and that brings the big city sports buzz with stadiums, tailgates, and the whole deal. Major tours hit Charlotte too, so there's concerts, shows, and big events always come through. Charlotte gets it all on the big stage, but Greenville's scene is a little bit more local and community driven. There's festivals, outdoor concerts, and the Peace Center downtown brings steady energy. It's not Charlotte's scale, but for the size of the city, it's awesome. You can actually run into people you know at events. It feels more personal and more fun. But just for the sheer number of options, Charlotte has to win with pro sports and big name concerts. Greenville shines for community and closeness, but Charlotte's scale takes this one overall. Now, big shows are one thing, but what about weekend escapes when you want a change of scenery? From Charlotte, you're a couple hours to the mountains and maybe 3 hours to the beach. That's the sweet spot. You can do either with a weekend. It's nice to have both within reach without needing a plane, but Greenville has basically the same setup. You can shoot up to Asheville in about an hour or head down to Atlanta in a couple hours. Mountains and beaches are both easy weekend trips, and so both cities share that same middle ground. It's not on the coast, not in the mountains, but close to both. And if you're looking for the extreme one way or another, check out my videos on Charleston or Myrtle Beach or Wilmington or Asheville. Overall, we're giving Greenville and Charlotte a tie as both get those quick getaways, easy on the weekend. But what about getting out of town by plane? Let's talk about airport access. The Charlotte Douglas International Airport is a major airport. Tons of direct flights, both domestic and international. So if you travel a lot for work or leisure, it's a huge perk. You don't have to connect through Atlanta for everything. Now, Greenville's airport is GSP, it's small, it's easy to get in and out of, security's quick, parking is simple, super convenient on the ground, and the trade-off is more connections and fewer direct flights, which for me, I could literally never do. And in most cases, you are going to be driving either to Atlanta or driving to Charlotte. And so again, if you're traveling a lot, Charlotte's gonna win hands down because it's got direct options. Whereas Greenville, it can keep things easy and stress-free, but for frequent flyers, the accessibility in Charlotte makes all the difference. So airports connect you out of the city, but what about the growth happening inside each city? Charlotte's always dependable. It's a big city with a corporate backbone. Growth here isn't a question. It's steady, reliable, and the growth itself is growing. Up until a few years ago, we had an average of 117 people per day moving here, and recent research came out that said 157 people per day are moving here. It's not slowing down anytime soon. Now, Greenville feels like it's really on the rise right now, particularly with the new BMW plant bringing a lot of people to Greenville, with the downtown that's been redone, and with the Swamp Rabbit area booming. You can see companies moving in and people relocating. There's momentum, like you're catching a city on the way up. Now, Greenville brings exciting upside, but Charlotte wins on proven stability, long-term reliability, and a diverse set of catalysts that are driving the city forward. So Charlotte's gonna win. But while growth is important, at the end of the day, which city actually fits you better? Charlotte is great for people who want to chase career growth, corporate energy, big city options, big city amenities. If you like having pro sports teams that you can root for and go see at a big, NFL stadium, concerts, nightlife, wide variety of everything, Charlotte scratches that itch. If you want a lot of options for everything, Charlotte is your option. It's for folks who can handle a little bit of traffic and a little bit higher cost of living, because the trade-off is the opportunity and scale and optionality. But Greenville is great for people who want community, convenience, charm. If you like walkable downtowns, family-friendly festivals, quality over quantity, Greenville delivers. It's for folks that want a little bit lower cost of living and that plug in fast, feel at home kind of vibe. So Charlotte, great for ambition, options, energy. Greenville, good for belonging, comfort, and balance. Both fit. It's about which vibe matches you better. Charlotte and Greenville both bring a lot to the table, but in very different flavors. So which city wins overall? Well, it depends on what you're looking for. For me, I chose to live in Charlotte, but I put together the Southern Cities quiz that links below, where you can scan the QR code, answer a few quick questions, and it'll show which city fits you best and why. And if you want to see all the complete pros and cons of living in Charlotte, you can watch this video next. My name's Lucas Roller, your partner for finding the right city, the right area, the right home in the Carolinas. And until next time, thanks for watching, and I hope to show you around town.